Welcome to episode 68, tool review number 1, the Dewalt 788 scroll saw. Stay tuned. This tool review is the first one in the series of tool reviews I'll be doing every 8th episode in the 10 episode series. So follow me along in this episode and I'll show you the cost that this machine is, that I got it for, the qualities and what I like and what I don't like about it, and just seeing it work. So hopefully this video will give you an idea if this tool is right for you, or maybe you are looking into something different. So let's go to the scroll saw and start talking about it. This is my Dewalt 788 scroll saw. I bought this from the outlet store of Dewalt, and the price that I got for it, I bought the stand, the saw, and the light for it, all together for $600, brand new. So for me, at that time, I had the money to spend on it, so I got all three of those things. And it was a great purchase, and it is, maybe hasn't gotten its money worth yet from selling items that I made on it, but it's definitely worth the money. And it's not as much as a higher end saw, but this saw can do pretty much whatever you need to do on this saw. The attachments I have is the light, and then I also have another light that provides enough light for the camera stuff that I do, and I'll turn on this one here, and also to be able to see my work. Now maybe in the future I'll add a magnifying lamp to it, but for now this is great. It has an extended blower hose here that you can go to far lengths or whatever angle you need to blow the sawdust away from your workpiece or the line that you're cutting. So that's real helpful, because the last saw I had no dust blower, so I had to keep blowing it away while I'm scrolling, and that was a little bit of a hassle at times. So I find that this blower hose really helps in the work that I'm doing. It is easier to do, and it's just a lot funner to scroll when you don't have a bunch of sawdust everywhere and you're trying to cut. The two things that I have new on this saw, I got this foot switch here, and what I have that for is when I'm cutting, I use it to start and stop the saw, and when you are having your foot on it, you press down and it's gone. When you let up, it stops. So I constantly have the saw on the on position when I'm working on a piece. So that provides a lot easy way to cut and all that, especially if you're doing a fretwork piece or whatever. You don't have to keep reaching up there to turn it on and off. But that's just an adaptation that you can use for your saw. And if you're not using a Dewalt, you can also buy that just as an easier way to use your saw. The other thing that I will just say, a bad thing about the Dewalt saw is that when you raise the arm up, here I'll show you, you see that it stays up on its own like that. Well, that's because I have this easy lift system on here, and that will be in the next couple videos for the scroll saw talk, and I'll talk more about that. But the Dewalt comes to where you raise the arm up and it will just fall back down. So that is a more negative feature about the saw that I don't really like, versus the Excalibur saw. I believe the arm stays up. So that is the one feature that isn't the greatest about it. A lot of people stick a piece of wood in the back there to keep it up while you're changing the blade from a piece of work or whatever you're using to feed it back into the hole. So that creates more of a hassle. So either using the easy lift system or the Bigfoot lift and lock products, that makes it easier to use. One thing I do like about this though is that the cast iron table, it is very heavy actually, so that cuts down on the vibration of the saw and creates a nice smoother work that you can do, and it creates a more funner way of doing the work because you don't have a piece that's going to be vibrating everywhere while you're trying to cut. And also the power of this saw, it is very powerful, and you can cut through pretty much any hardwood. I only cut up to about an inch thick at a time unless I'm stack cutting something that might be more, but the power of the saw is plenty for whatever you're trying to cut. Another thing I like about the saw is the tensioning. The tensioning knob is right here, and it has numbers going from 1 to 5, and I know that's hard to see there because of the light, but I usually run it around 4 or 5, and you just have to listen to the blade. Depending on the size, it makes a difference, the tension you use, of course, but what I like about the tensioning is it's in the front. On my old Craftsman saw, the tension was in the very back, so sitting on a stool at the saw, reaching to the far back was a little bit of a hassle, especially if you're doing, you know, a piece of work that has a lot of cuts in it. So having that accessibility of the tensioning knob right there really made it handy for me when I was doing a lot of fretwork items or just a lot of cuts. It made it very convenient to tension and untension the blade for when you're doing work like fretwork or just any ordinary piece. So that was the tool review of the Dewalt 788 scroll saw. Also, I forgot to mention the depth of, or the throat of the scroll saw is 20 inches from the blade to the back of the saw. So you can use a board that is 20 inches in diameter to use on the scroll saw. Most scroll saws run in the increments of 16, 21, 30, or some may be different. That's the ones I've seen. But the Dewalts run at 20-inch throats, so you can use a 20-inch long piece while you're cutting. If that is a problem, you could also use a spiral blade. That way you don't have to twist your work, you actually move it. So there is ways to work around it, but for me, I don't really use or do work that is wider than 20 inches long. So that doesn't, the throat size isn't really a problem for me. And also the table of it's pretty nice and big on that, so if you have a bigger piece, it's nice to rest that work piece on the table, and it's nice to work with on there. So again, I got it for $600, the package of the scroll saw, the light, and the stand for it. And I find that the stand is needed for it because it also helps with the vibration. If you sit it on a bench or wherever, it may not be as sturdy and it could vibrate more. And you do not want vibration in your work, or it makes it harder to cut and all that. So those are 3 things I got for it. So that was the tool review of the Dewalt 788 scroll saw. Stick with us next episode for the scroll saw talk number 3, table restoration. And then next 78 will be the tool review over the Craftsman 14-inch bandsaw. So look forward to those. I'm Dustin.
I'm Dylan.
Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next time.